The world of gaming is bereft with sequels and ripoffs. For every original, wonderful game that we get to enjoy, we have to endure an endless number of soulless clones, shitty spin-offs, and, let's face it, copy-paste sequels because gaming companies have rightly assumed that we will pay $60 to just try to feel the same joy again. We're all looking to cure depression with a video game. The business side of gaming often gets in the way of the art and innovation side because failure is an absolute possibility and games are expensive to make, and some developers are not able, or let's be very honest here, willing to eat a loss. So instead of giving us an original idea and taking a chance on failing, a lot of game companies are more than happy to say, hey, look, we made another Call of Duty Cold Black Advanced Op, whatever the fuck. Can you give me your 60, please? I'm gonna need that 60. Put it in my hand right now. However, sometimes the developer just wasn't finished with an idea. They had more game modes or mechanics that would change the way people would experience this title, or they had a deeper commitment to the story, or they just had better technology and resources to more accurately execute their vision. These are the games that took the good and made it great, all right? They took my need and they gave me speed. Underground. Either way, these are some of my favorite sequels, some of the games that I think everybody should play and pay a little homage to because they're doing the right kind of work. Guys, these are 7 sequels that found the secret sauce. I'm starting out with an obvious one first because Street Fighter II is so synonymous with gaming greatness, most people forget it's a sequel to this absolute bowl of St. Bernard dogwater. That is 90% gel juice in that bitch. The original Street Fighter just had you playing as Ryu taking on the AI, and that's kind of all it had to offer you. So it wasn't very good, and no one gives a shit. No one remembers it. And then Street Fighter 2 came along and said, we got competitive multiplayer, we got thighs thick as redwoods in this bitch. Also, we got the beats that are gonna become the soundtrack to many an ass whooping. This game set arcades around the world on fire. People were pouring quarters into this shit, and ever since then, it has been slightly changed and repackaged more than whatever character Ryan Reynolds is playing in all of these movies. I love him, but man, it's not a range situation, if you know what I mean. The different characters and play styles were pretty much the first of their kind, and we really owe a lot to this game. It's the birth of modern fighting and competitive gaming as we know it. Plus, taught me all about rage quitting after this one-eyed evil fuckwit burned the phrase hyper uppercut into my brain. I can never not hear that again. The original Portal was just a throw-in on the orange box. It was made by a team of 8 people, and Valve intentionally kept the game short just in case players didn't like it as much as other more established portions of the collection, Half-Life 2 and Team Fortress 2. However, people fell in love with GLaDOS's passive-aggressive ass and were just mystified by this whole pastry deception bullshit, so Valve said, here's a team of 40, expand, improve, and boy golly did they do that shit. Better writing, better voice acting, deeper characters, incredible environmental storytelling, and that's all before we even get to the gameplay, because hot damn did that take a huge leap forward. The scale and complexity of these puzzles is massively more developed than the original game, especially with the paint mechanics. It just opens you up to all kinds of possibilities to show you what you can do with 2 holes and some goo. Oh my god! But by far the biggest addition was the inclusion of a co-op mode that had entirely new puzzles that you and your soon-to-be ex-best friend would spend 5 minutes killing each other in before you even attempt to solve the fucking thing. Portal 2 is the perfect example of a game developer saying, when I was 10, the original Spiderman movie came out, and it was one of the coolest things I had seen in my life to that point. It had web swinging, Macho Man Randy Savage, and it had Kirsten Dunst, who I had a huge crush on from Bring It On, a seminal film of the early 2000s that made teenagers of every gender look in the mirror and ask, why are you gay? However, the game was absolute dog shit. The web swinging was particularly terrible, but also, it was a level-based game. In what world are you making a game where you're a superhero and you want to take the player's freedom away? What?
No, this is America!
However, the second game followed the example of the second movie and blew that first one out the fucking water. We're freely web swinging around New York City now. I'm climbing the Empire State Building and jumping headfirst off. That's all I'm looking to do. I'm slinging hot za like my name is Pizza Parker in this motherfucker. The web slinging was revolutionary. While it may not be as smooth and simple as what we enjoy on these PS4 games now, it is still remarkably intuitive. While I'm not so certain that the game will stand up to the test of time, its importance in gaming history has to be acknowledged. It laid the basic framework for what a superhero game should be, and it has clearly been followed, as you can see from the Arkham series that we should all know and love by now. Very clearly some inspiration there. Persona is one of the best series in all of gaming, and they've dipped their toes in just about every genre at this point, from fighters to beat-em-ups to rhythm games. They do all this shit. However, originally, it was basically a carbon copy of Shin Megami Tensei. If you don't know what Shin Megami Tensei is, it's a punishing brand of JRPGs that frequently focuses on themes of religion, uses the same demons, and also they have a lot of horseshit in their games like these fucking Minotaur. Not a fan. These games aren't for me. I don't find them fun at all. However, with Persona 3, Atlus decided to take a risk and make a fun game. Who'd have thought? Instead of just focusing on the combat, they then focused on the story and the relationships by creating what can only be described as a high school life simulator. Alright, you go to class, you study, you try to hit on the hot redhead, then you realize you're too stupid to hit on the hot redhead, so you really start to fucking study all the time. You're hitting the books nonstop until you come back and you holler at her like a well-read sophisticant would.
Off of me! Ugh, as if!
The game gives you so much more to do than just grind out combat, to the point where you're actually planning out your week in the game so you can spend as much time with your friends as possible and further develop those social links and learn about their story. Plus, you get an experience boost to your personas for doing so. So there's a practical in-game application for this. It's not just a situation where you're world building for the sake of world building. You actually get something out of this. I like when they merge those two. I don't want to be fucking around for no reason. Not my thing. There definitely aren't very many turn-based JRPGs that are going to hold my attention. However, the relationships that you get to experience in this game makes every one of the 100 hours it's going to take to complete it absolutely worth it. The first game didn't have lightsabers or Yoda, and the second game did, so I don't know what else you would need me to explain here. Need for Speed was a fixture of my childhood, with games like Hot Pursuit giving me a surface-level understanding of the term "fuck the police." However, Need for Speed didn't offer the same pure racing goodness of its more established and critically acclaimed opponent, Gran Turismo. People love this shit. But then they clearly saw Fast and the Furious and watched Paul Walker and Vin Diesel turn their mom's Volkswagen into a fucking Matchbox car, and they're like, oh, ho, ho.
I like that. I'm gonna steal it. That's mine.
Need for Speed Underground was the dirty opposition to the posh Gran Turismo. It gave players everything they could ask for, from car customization to drag races, drifting, and a misplaced sense of confidence that caused my brother to try to install louder and louder exhaust on every piece of shit Mazda from the 80s he could get his hands on. Now, this game feels so great to me because it's as deep as I really want to go with the racing genre. Everything else is trying too hard, doing these big-ass long races. I don't want to do any of that shit, alright? I'm a Rush, Cruising USA, Burnout kind of racing game player. I like shit to be kind of arcadey. So, to give me an arcadey type racing game with better customization options and a deeper sense of progression, I eat that shit up like catnip. Even if I can't drift to save my life, I am hitting every barricade like my name is that kid from Tokyo Drift. No one knows his name. Sling Blade Kid, you know what I'm talking about. While people do tend to praise Underground 2 more for its expansion into the open world, I thought that was a completely unnecessary addition and honestly detracts from the game. Underground 1's much more streamlined approach does everything I want for me. Race, paint my car, race more. Great game, go back and play it. You'll be pleasantly surprised. While I could lose some people with this one, I don't give a fuck. This game is an absolute gem and just hit me at the perfect time in my childhood. When I was growing up, it was around the peak of skateboarding's influence on pop culture, with great movies like Lords of Dogtown and Grind coming out, and shows like Jackass and Viva La Bam making me think everybody associated with skateboarding culture were the funnest people around. However, I had the same shape and gravitational challenges as a frozen butterball turkey, so leaping into the air and expecting a thin piece of plywood to catch me as I came back down was a little more faith than my agnostic ass could muster. Tony Hawk games were great and I had a lot of fun playing them, but they were all just a little too arcadey. And I don't just mean in the combo sense, but very much in the I pick them up, I play around, I put it down because I'm done. It does not hook me. So then Tony Hawk's Underground came along and gave my childish brain exactly what it's always needed in a sports game, an engaging story. That's all I'm asking for. It's a sports movie now and I'm the star. You and your rat-faced little buddy try to take the skating world by storm, get into hijinks, causing some trouble, dealing with betrayal. There's actually some meat to this story's bones. I like it. It's a very fun time. These huge playground-style levels make a return, all with their own ridiculous story missions like grind the rail or escape the cops, escape Russia, attempt to jump to your death in Miami. There's a lot of ridiculous shit in here, but it's, it's Tony Hawk. We do ridiculous shit in these games. That's the fun part. I've played this game over and over again, and it's honestly the last skateboarding game that I fell in love with, because after that, none of them had nearly as much personality as this one. I thought this was just always fun. While it may not be the thumbstick flick fest of skate that everybody seems to have such a hard-on for these days, Tony Hawk's Underground is a delightfully dirty romp through the world of skating that you can play over and over again and still enjoy, because I can pick that shit up right now and I will be having the time of my life. If you've never played this game, if you're young and watching this video, go to your local used game store, pick that shit up. It'll be $10 and you will get so much bang for your buck. Guys, that's the whole video. These are the 7 sequels that found the secret sauce. I love an alliteration, as you can tell. Thanks for staying the whole time. Thank you for watching. I'm really glad to have you back. I don't know when the next video is going to be. I don't know what it's going to be on, but I do know I just finished playing Red Dead 2 and the ending pissed me off so much, so I may have to talk about that eventually. Just get it out. You guys are my gaming therapy. Like, share, subscribe, follow on the socials, all that silly shit, but you know the drill. Take care of those sweet baby angel buds so I can see you back here next time, all right? That's it. We're done. Skedaddle. You gotta go. You have to. You've got to do it. You have to go. It has to happen now.